Not all who fight against the horrors of the old world are disciplined state troopers or majestic armored knights. Indeed, when confronted with the threat of an orc Waaagh, a chaos invasion, or the endless hordes of the undead, mere mortal men of the Empire assemble into large, poorly equipped bands of warriors to hold back the encroaching darkness. These groups, known as Free Company militia, may not look like much, but they will fight twice as hard when protecting their hearth and home. Many such militias have fought valiantly across the numerous battlefields of the Empire, but few can boast of being more brave and stubborn than the Free Company known as Stirland's Revenge. Renowned for their poor hygiene nearly as much as their tenacity, Stirland's Revenge is comprised of Stirlanders who refuse to abandon their homes in the cursed province of Sylvania. They fought long and hard to make the territory inhabitable, and they won't let something as petty as shambling corpses or crumbling skeletons force them from their ancestral lands. Many also fight for vengeance, as every member of the militia has lost a friend or loved one to the rancid jaws of undeath. With nothing left to lose, the warriors of Stirland's Revenge fight with an unequaled ferocity. Grief gives them the courage to go on. Many also find courage in a more liquid form, and many of Stirland's Revenge's members are drunk at any given time. When not wandering the hinterlands of Sylvania in search of small groups of undead to destroy, Stirland's Revenge can often be found raiding abandoned inns and markets. They know, deep in their hearts, that their resistance is merely a feeble distraction for the lords of Sylvania, so the militia indulge in food and ale as if every day was their last. Perhaps, for some, it is. The first recorded appearance of Stirland's Revenge is at the Drunken Goat Inn, late in 2522 IC. They had been enjoying a night of celebration with the inn's abandoned barrels of ale when they met the light wizard Jovi Sunscryer and his apprentices. Sunscryer, who was assisting Volkmar in his crusade to bring back light to Sylvania, convinced the militia to join the wizards on their mission to banish the darkness. The militia, emboldened by the possible return of daylight and a conspicuous amount of alcohol, pledged to assist the mages right then and there. To record their sacrifice, the warriors signed their name on a stolen sign. At the militia's request, the light wizards signed as well. All were bound by a common cause now. Sunsquire led the militia deep into the haunted necropolis of Argravia, encountering hordes of ghosts along the way. Though Stirland's Revenge fought with bravery and ferocity, their mundane weapons could do little against their spectral foes. Fortunately for them, the Wind of Hysh is exceptional at banishing the undead. The militia merely needed to hold the line long enough for the light wizards to finish their incantations and blast the ghosts with blinding magic. This scene played out several times, until eventually the living forces reached an ancient observatory. There the Free Company encountered the Claw of Nagash, a mortis engine of hideous power, and its Hexwraith guardians. Sunsquire believed that, should the arcane monstrosity be destroyed, or at least damaged, Manfred's Ritual of Darkness could be disrupted. At the very least, the wizards could send a request for help to the outside world using the giant lenses of the observatory. Stirland's Revenge, knowing what it must do, advanced upon the necromantic contraption and its ghostly guardians to buy the light wizards the time needed to destroy the mortis engine. Alongside von Corden's assault against Konigstein Tower, the Battle of Argravia could be considered one of the few victories of Volkmar's crusade into Sylvania. Not only did the light wizards damage the Claw of Nagash, they also forced Manfred to flee the field at Swartzhofen, inadvertently saving Volkmar's forces from utter destruction. They could not have done so without the stout hearts of Stirland's Revenge, who kept the wizards safe with their burly bodies and strong arms. The militia weren't done yet, however, and they accompanied Sunsquire and his apprentices as they joined up with the main body of Volkmar's crusade. They arrived just in time to aid the Crusaders at the Battle of Castle Sterneist. Stirland's Revenge was almost completely overwhelmed in the fight, drowning beneath an unending tide of lifeless husks. It seems likely that the only marker of Stirland's Revenge's existence would have been its stolen sign if the gold wizard Balthazar Gelt had not completed his arcane ritual. Far away in Altdorf, the Supreme Patriarch used magic to unearth every buried holy symbol in Sylvania and harness their divine power to blast the undead apart. Lesser creatures were destroyed utterly, and even powerful abominations like Manfred had to flee the field. Thus were Stirland's Revenge saved, at least for the time being. It is unclear what happened to Stirland's Revenge after the climactic battle at Castle Sterneist. Maybe they finally surrendered to good sense and left the province to settle elsewhere in the Empire, acknowledging that Sylvania was a lost cause with the Grand Theogenes' disappearance. Considering their stubborn nature, however, this seems unlikely. A far more believable fate is that Stirland's revenge remained in Sylvania, clinging to the ruins of their old home until they inevitably succumbed to the curse of undeath. It is unlikely we will ever know their ultimate end, but considering the grim reality of the Warhammer world, it is probably not a happy one. In Total War Warhammer, Stirland's Revenge is the Regiment of Renown Free Company militia unit on the Empire roster. Introduced with the Grim and the Grave DLC, they cost 800 gold in multiplayer, 130 gold more than a normal Rank 9 Free Company militia unit. This price increase is well deserved, however. Stirland's Revenge gains the stock special ability, making them good at ambushing enemies. They also have immune to psychology, though their low base leadership and defensive stats makes them unsuited for holding the line against serious opposition, even those that do cause fear and terror. Stirland's Revenge's real advantage over normal Free Company is in their ranged attacks, however. Instead of having predominantly non-armor piercing ammunition, Stirland's Revenge's shots are mostly armor piercing. This makes them excellent at shooting heavily armored opponents, especially since the militia can use their vanguard deployment and stock abilities to get in proper position before blasting their foes apart. With that, we have wrapped yet another Regiment of Renown video, this time covering the unruly warriors of Stirland's Revenge. I hope you've enjoyed this brief return to the Empire, but I'm afraid it's merely a temporary visit. In our next video, we'll turn our eyes north to a frozen land and one of its many gods. As always, don't forget to do the YouTube things, like liking and subscribing. If you have an idea for a future video, don't be afraid to comment it down below. This video itself was a suggestion, courtesy of Blood Reaper 88. I've got a bit of a backlog as of this recording, as I'm working from a first come, first serve model right now, but I promise I'll get to whatever is suggested eventually, provided I can track down the right resources. So many books. Anyways, this has been Sigmar's Chosen, signing off for now.